Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory be to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. And I want to say double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Blessings to the hopeful elect out there listening and learning and teaching this word in sincerity and truth, in the hopes that we may edify and feed the lambs of Yahweh Shai, especially in these last days. And then pretty much I just wanted to, pretty much do a video, land backing off a video that I just watched or was listening to in the middle of listening to, which I had to pause because I had to give my 2 cents on it as well, with the elder from over there in LA, I believe. The elder, is it Mawatazak? And he was going into how Esau pretty much, look, we're in a time where Esau's about to start showing them horns, man. And when I say he's showing them horns, he's gonna really show you tribes, how much of a devil he really is. I mean, this is the same individual that was behind the whole Willie Lynch letter, which was pretty much a program for Esau, Edomite slave masters to get their slaves in order, by pretty much humiliating Jake, that had a stronger mindset, that was most likely to stand against the tyrannical rule of these plantation owners. And when you read about the contents of that Willie Lynch letter and how they were instructed to break the will of the stronger slaves in front of the rest of the slaves, through a term known as, there was a term called buck breaking as well, where they would which I remember that he's a Tariq Nasheed, he done a video, like a documentary on speaking on that very point, buck breaking, and how they would humiliate a strong Jake and pretty much rape him in front of the other Jakes on the plantation to break him down, to break his spirit. But not only break his spirit, to break any other if Jake had any other bright ideas to stand up and rebel, then that would pretty much be crushed from the root, because you'd see a strong Jake getting broken down. And then what they do is they'd whip you bloody, and then they'd put salt and pepper into your wounds, man. So this is what I'm saying, that this devil, man, like, has shown a perpetual hatred, towards our people, and that hasn't gone away. You might be thinking, because now you can work a job and you can, you got a roof over your head and you can go to the supermarket and that and whatever, you think that their mindset has changed. No, their mindset has not changed. And they're about to, they're about to show you, they're about to come full force with it. Alright? And now you got this whole new task force thing. This is what the elder was going into, with this guy, Kash Patel. They're pretty much, he's some Elamite. He's pretty much gonna, send in a task force, over there in the state of Memphis, because they're calling, like, they're saying that there's a lot of homicide over there in Memphis. So in order to combat the chaos, they need, and they even got Jakes, they're interviewing Jakes in response to this task force, the FBI task force, and that they're going to send out. And they even got Jake responding simple as hell, yeah, we need this. But you don't seem to realize that the elder was going into that, they're going to be coming for all you Jakes, man. Because they ain't going to be able to differentiate. These troops ain't going to be able to differentiate between those who are being better citizens in society, if you will. Not causing a ruckus, not causing trouble. That's why they're letting, I remember Elder Apostle Ricard was saying, a couple of years ago, he's been saying this for time. They be letting you GMO babies get away, you smash and grabbers. They be letting you GMO babies run amok in these cities because it's gonna give them more of an incentive to, because you know Esau be watching, you know, they be reporting, you know, you be looking crazy as hell on social media, you be looking crazy as hell on the news, and you know all the chaos that they're allowing you to commit, right? And they're forwarding that by the music that you listen to, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that they advertise towards Jake take it and they run with it, you know. And the scripture, like the scripture says, my people are such as children, you know. My people are foolish, they are such as children, they are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge, right? So Esau, you know, at the end of the day, you know, they be watching, okay? And it's going to be justifiable for them to come down with that great wrath. Like the scripture says in Revelation 12:12, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. So, you know, this devil knows that they know that they got a short time. So they're going to come down with that wrath, man. That's why them sending out the task force and that and whatever, that's going to be cold red, right? Or green light for Esau to pretty much just excuse me, go to town on you Jakes, man. And that's Jacob's trouble. Remember the scripture speak about Jacob's trouble in Jeremiah 30. Excuse me. This always happens. Every time I do a video, all of a sudden I start sneezing. That's Satan. But yeah, you know, so pretty much Esau, you know, they're looking for an excuse to whoop a Jake's ass. But Jacob's trouble is real. It's just around the corner, man. You know, we're in the beginning stages of it. You know, you're seeing like these, you know, inflation. You're seeing like more and more homeless. You know, they're ready to make moves, man. And with Jake's desperation, not being able to distract themselves from the bread and circuses. What about when them blackouts hit and you can't doom scroll no more? You can't go on your your Snapchats, your Instagrams, your smartphones, your TikToks and that, and you're faced with the harsh reality of what is in front of you, and you ain't got no electronics to distract you from what's really going on. You ain't got no bread and circuses. Jake gonna go buck wild, and that's gonna give, you know, these troops the green light to pretty much, you know, mop the floor with you, Jake. And that's why we're telling you, you know, that there's going to be a time it's going to be very hard to take, you know, in the near future. You know, if you don't have that hedge about you, like the elder said, you know, Elder Mawatazak said, he said, if you ain't got Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in you, if you don't have that hedge about you, pretty much you're open game. You know what I mean? Like, you're just going to be left out there to, you know, to get rubbed out basically by Esau. Remember the scriptures tell you that in Ezekiel 21:9. Son of man, prophesy, thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened, right? And furbished that it may glitter, should we then make mirth? And we're not in the time of mirth. You know, the sword is being sharpened. Esau's blessing that he was given, right, is the sword, and he's going to use that sword. The scriptures tell you that Esau is the sword of the Lord on the left hand side. Psalm 17:13, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, right? Esau's blessing is the sword, and they're about to start swinging that sword. A modern day sword is a killing instrument, and Esau, you best believe he's been perfecting that sword, man. You know, he's just been sharpening that sword. All right, and someone that's sharpening a sword, you know, that's with intent, because you know you sharpen a sword because your intent after the sword is now sharpened to a point where it can cut through nicely. You know, they're gonna start swinging it and cutting down you, Jake. You know, like when the scriptures speak about that they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. That's you, Jake, because Jake feared the Lord. You know, so they're gonna cast you out of your houses. You know, they're gonna kick down your door, use them battery rams or whatever, like they show you when they arrest, when they roll in on these drug dealers and that and whatever, these trap houses or whatever, in all kind of hours in the morning early when Jake's sleeping. They got drool running down the side of their cheek, and then they in their bed and that they think they're all good. You know, that's why the scripture says, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna come a time, man, when you least expect it, you're gonna be greeted with a big ass boot on your door, right? And they're gonna tie your ass up and pretty much put you in detention centers, concentration camps, you name it. All right, see, Esau has been allowing you, Jake, to do this, run amok, because remember, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We're supposed to know what this devil's got planned, man. Like, we got to be circumspect, like the Apostle Paul said in Ephesians 5:15, see then that you walk circumspectly, as wise and not as fools, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. You know what I'm saying? So we got to know what this devil's got planned, man. Don't be running out, you know, walking around here like some simple ass Jake with a simple look on your face, which you are going to do that if the Spirit of the Lord is not on you. You just going to be out here looking for them bread and circuses, completely, you know, your attention is completely diverted, right? You in that blissful state of mind, because ignorance is bliss, as they say. You like Cypher from the Matrix, you know. You don't want to remember nothing. You just want to, you know what I'm saying? Ignorance is bliss, and you just want to eat them medium rare steaks, which is off. You know, you want the steak with a blood dripping from the middle, all pink in the middle. Hey, man, what the fuck? Like, see what I'm saying? Jake is bugged out here, man. Jake is just out here doing whatever, not really considering the time to come, not really considering what time we're in, man. You know, and that's why we constantly tell you about the mark of the beast. We tell you about the chip. We tell you about the Ordo ab Chaos. We tell you about the New World Order. We tell you about what they got planned and how they want total control over these people, especially in these major cities, man. Right? And there's gonna be zero fucks given when Esau rolls on you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, man. Because you've been moving simple as hell. But there's gonna come a time where your simplicity will be your downfall. Like the scripture says, how long will you love simplicity and scorn is delight in their scorning? Loosely paraphrasing, you know. But Proverbs 1 goes into that. Scripture says in Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man. So because you lack the knowledge and the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, you will not be armed, right, spiritually with what's going on. You will be defenseless. You will be hopeless. You will be out there and there's going to be no defense for you. If you ain't calling upon the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai in sincerity in these last days, you are defenseless. The scriptures tell you the name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. So if you ain't calling upon the name of the Lord, you have no strong tower. You have no defense. You know, you're going to start realizing that everything that the prophets were saying is true. All of this stuff, all the lights in these cities, all the, you know, the shops. Oh yeah, what time do you close? Oh yeah, we close at 6:30, mate. You know, all these things that you take for granted. In fact, you can walk into these shops and, oh, I'll just go there tomorrow. I mean, they were shut when I got there, but I'll just go there to, nah. When these blackouts start happening, when the looting start happening, when they, you know, when a serious cause for concern with Esau, you know, oh, we need reason to send these troops in. Not just Memphis, there's going to be more. There's going to be more, right, in these cities, man. Esau is about to send out them troops, right? That's why I quoted Ezekiel 21:9. We are supposed to be prophesying about this. And these ain't our words that we're speaking, man, right? But while you're in that peace and safety spirit, while you think you're secure, right? Because you can slide up under your duvet at night, and you're all warm and cuddly. You got your little demonic boo thing next to you, and you spooning out, yeah. You know, all of a sudden, they kick down your door, they take you, they separate you, they take her to another room, and they rock her world, man. They be raping them women. If you got daughters, they're gonna be raping your daughters, right? And then they're gonna take them, they're gonna put them in the back of the lorries, right? Like they're capped like Handmaid's Tale, man. You know, like the scriptures tell you that the women shall be ravished, like Handmaid's Tale. And they were treating Handmaid's Tale, they were treating the women like livestock, and they were counting them like livestock, and they were just throwing them in vans. The same vans that you see, you know, that they had what they herd cattle into, man. Like them slaughterhouse vans and that. Or them farm vans, where they got the little slits for the cattle to get some air in and that. To stick their heads out the side. That's what they were putting them women into. So you see, and that's predictive programming. There's gonna come a time when that's gonna become a real reality, a harsh reality, right, for you individuals out here to take. You, Jake, you Israelites, man. The scriptures say that, you know, seek ye the Lord while he may be found, call ye upon him while he is near. That's why we don't want to get caught up in that, man. We want to be defended in that time, and that's what we do. That's why we do what we do. We want to be defended. We ain't out here scoffing, and because we ain't scoffed, and because we accepted the word of the Lord, or should I say rather that the Lord had us accept it, You know, because really, you don't have no free will, right? The Lord has to choose you for this word to be in you, man. You know, we've been called. We hope that we've been chosen for the word to remain in us. The scripture says, he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. This is about enduring to the end, you know. So shit's about to go down. You know, we're in some very serious times indeed, man. Just keep your eyes open, keep your ears peeled, right? Remember, a time like no other since there was a nation is about to be introduced to the earth. I mean, that's a heavy statement, because whether you're comparing it to the flood of Noah, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Right, this time's gonna be worse than that. Excuse me, my phone just overheated. Yeah, my phone is pretty hot. You know, my phone, when it gets hot, it just shuts off. It doesn't record anymore. It's like a safety feature or something. So I want to wrap this up anyway. But yeah, whether you compare this to the flood of Noah, the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, the time that's about to be introduced to the earth is going to be worse than that, man. So, you know, hey, we got to be on our A game spiritually, you know, stay circumspect. Like I said, I'm going to close it out because this phone's overheating. But, hey, Lord willing, hey, through the Spirit, I believe I touched on what I wanted to touch on anyway, man. All right. Hey, what is it? Hosea 5:15. I will go and return unto my place. Till they acknowledge their offense. In their affliction, they will seek me early. Jake's bullshitting, but guess what? When they're getting afflicted, right, that's when they're going to want to seek after the Lord, man. But it's going to be too late. See, the elect, they're seeking the Lord, you know, ahead of schedule, man, so that we may be defended, all right? So, hey, we're in a good headspace. We're in a good place to be, a good position to be, seeing that the end is near. Let's just stay in that position. Hold your post, man. And the scripture says, hold that fast which ye have, all right, which is this word. So with that, man, hey, I'm going to close it out, man. Shalom to the elect.